wrestling fans, and we are the degenerates that want to talk about it. This is a special edition of Kicking At It 2. As always, I'm Michael. With me, as always, is Tori. Hey, Tori.
Good evening.
We were not going to start recording until tomorrow, like we normally do on a Wednesday. However, things blew up today, and we figured why not talk about the news. Couple of little tidbits I'm going to say first, and then we'll get to the big thing that I know everybody's curious about and thinking about. Um, at Raw, there was an interesting name backstage. Bo Dallas was hanging around backstage, and we know that Howdy showed up. So
I'm sure that's a coincidence. There
yeah,
there would be no correlation there.
no reason at all that a guy that's about the same build, about the same stance, about the same look as Bray just happened to be backstage when Howdy shows
Right.
up. Um,
Such a coincidence. I would have never guessed.
we got some updates on some free agent contracts. Chelsea Green, although she's popped back up in WWE, she hasn't, excuse me, popped back up in WWE as of yet. Fightful has been told that Chelsea Green has been signed back to the WWE, and she has been for quite a while. They're just waiting on some sort of creative for her. That does lead, though, to the next one, Matt Cardona. There's been a lot of speculation about Matt coming back and what he'll possibly do with his wife, Chelsea Green, heading back to the WWE. WWE sources have indicated to Fightful that Cardona is not signed, but that we shouldn't rule anything out. So,
I don't understand signing people and having nothing creative for them. I don't get
mhm.
it. Like, why did you sign them for them to sit around?
Yeah, I don't disagree. Um, the only thing that I'm kind of hopeful for is if just they're working out details for Matt and they just happen to get hers done first.
And
And
that's
so
possible.
they're just waiting for her to come in. So
If you want to put
hopefully
her,
he makes a big splash. And
if you want to put her on TV, send her to NXT, put her with Toxic Attraction.
that's not a bad idea.
Be like, hey, I got a phone call that y'all needed some help. You don't have to say her name,
Hmm.
but obviously it's Mandy. There's no reason you couldn't, and just throw her out there as an extra body
Yeah, just an extra person to throw into the mix
and
for
get
a
her
little
back
bit.
on TV to give her more recognition with the company because people know who she is, but the general audience isn't going to.
Right. And mainly just because of the failed bringing of her up the first time. Like
Right,
she gets brought up and immediately gets injured, and then she's taken off TV, and then we never see her again. And
right.
it's unfortunate, but yeah, I mean, the mainstream crowd didn't get a lot of chance to see her. Um,
Yeah, that's what I'm.
so Kaylee Ray is the last one we have a quick update on. She had a WWE tryout. That also led to her appearing on WWE Main Event, which led to speculation that she'd signed. As of right now, though, she's still a free agent. They have not officially signed her to a WWE contract.
Interesting.
So we shall see how that goes.
So, are we going to talk about the Mandy interview?
Yes, actually, since
Okay.
I was going to do that after the next thing I was going to talk about, but since you already brought up Mandy because of the Chelsea
Toxic
and
Attraction.
the toxic
Yeah,
attraction of it all, so she was on a talk show. Remind me the talk show name. I didn't have that part
I don't
correct.
know who she. I've never heard of her. Tamara Hall,
Okay.
something like that. Tamron.
So surprise to me today, I see a video on Twitter of Mandy on a talk show and her opening up about her recent departure from the WWE. The basic crib notes of the interview is that she doesn't feel like she did anything wrong, um, which I don't entirely disagree with.
I don't either.
Um, I mean, we've mentioned it before. Like, I think quietly letting her go for a little bit might have been okay, just to get the internet to move on and then bring her back later. But
It's been
to
what, 3 weeks, a month?
mhm,
Nobody's talking about it anymore.
right. Um, however, the surprising note is she said that she is open to talks to WWE to take down the site and come back. So she wants to come back. I'm sure there's going to be a different conversation about money if that happens
Uh, yeah, she
because
knocked down $1 million in
yeah,
like a month.
yeah, easily. Um, I mean, we've talked about how much people are worth on OnlyFans. she might be one of the ones that are worth that top dollar,
Right?
especially for the content she was showing out there. Um, but so I mean, that's an interesting thing. Her getting first of all getting an interview because again, like you said, like no one's really talking about it right now, so it's not like it's a hot topic anymore.
It makes me wonder if she doesn't know somebody that knew the host or someone with the show
Hmm.
that said, "Hey, here's this." Like I said, I don't know the show. I don't know anything about it. I don't know the host. I know nothing.
Right,
So I'm not in any way trying to downplay or put them down. I don't know anything about the show.
right. Um, the the other thing that made me kind of think is, WWE execs and how they plan to do stuff sometimes, especially here lately. We had the long running storyline with Bray leading up to him coming in with the codes and the different websites and the YouTube that somehow had something, but it was open back in the 70s, or the song was back in the 70s or something to that regard. Um, who's to say that they didn't put her on there to test the waters?
Possibly. That's a fair point. They
Bring her.
may say, hey, we worked this out. Why don't you go out there and talk about it?
Hmm.
And let's see how people react to it. Because, like I said, it's been 6 weeks, maybe
Yeah.
6, 8 weeks, whatever. No one's talking about it. No one.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with it. I mean, it does seem like she's open to coming back, and that I'm glad for that.
Yeah,
I'm glad to see that she's thinking about coming back, or at least has that in the back of her mind of she's wanting to come back. Because she's good. I mean,
she is. And I
she
mean, you can't disregard her reign.
yeah.
She was killing it.
I mean, from someone like we talk about homegrown talent a lot. From someone who was not too long ago in Tough Enough, drooling
Yeah,
over Roman Reigns when he showed up, to where she is now. I mean, she's massively, massively improved and earned her spot without a problem.
I think her going back to NXT was one of the best things that could have happened to her.
Absolutely, it was a nice
She was a,
refresh of
she
her
was an
character.
afterthought on Raw and SmackDown.
Mhm.
Once they finished the Otis storyline, nobody cared.
Right, and that's the thing. Like people loved that storyline, and you
Oh,
know,
that storyline was hilarious. It was ridiculous, but it was hilarious.
right. And so yeah, once that got forgotten, because let's be clear, it did like that. The storyline didn't culminate to anything. It was
No,
just
and
like one day, now
this
Otis is
booking
a
at
bad
its best.
guy. Now all of a sudden Otis has shaved his beard and became a member of the Alpha Academy, and okay.
Right.
And then this
Then
last Monday he's doing the Caterpillar again. So I don't know, whatever they're doing, but yeah. So when that went away, like her going to NXT, completely revamping her character, getting
absolutely.
rid of everything that she was, because no more blonde hair, no more gold attire, no more God's greatest gift, none of that stuff. It was just Mandy Rose and her being, the biggest bitch on the block. And
She did it well,
yeah, absolutely. And then having the two henchwomen with her, like that just helped even further.
which
Uh,
helped them too.
oh, absolutely. Gigi Dolan is one of my favorite people in the world right now, and it's like I noticed her because of what she's been doing with Toxic Attraction.
Exactly.
So
So you have a point about them setting up the interview for her. It makes me wonder, did they?
yeah,
Did even if they didn't specifically set it up, they made a phone call to the right person and said, "Hey, we'd like to do this.
yep,
Here's a guest for you."
yeah, absolutely, and that would test the waters, see what chatters on the internet, and I haven't seen anything today. Like,
Other than the clips going around her talking about it, but that's
yeah, so I mean,
the news websites were sharing it, but the fans aren't talking about it.
right, so we'll see.
Not like they were.
Yeah. Um, There was also an update on Edge's WWE creative plans as of this fall. Um,
Okay.
so he hasn't officially returned since the latest absence started. Fightful Select has learned that as of late November, WWE had Edge penciled in for the first couple of PLE events of the year. Um, they reported on a Q&A show upon his hiatus that the working plans were for Edge to take on Finn Balor upon his return to pick up that long feud. Um, with WrestleNews.co reporting that he'd be competing in the Royal Rumble as well. Um, Edge's limited dates was a factor in the rivalry being spread out for so long. We
Right.
So Fightful Select can confirm that Wrestling.co's report that as of this point, ahead of Survivor Series, it was scheduled to be a Hell in a Cell match with them at Royal Rumble. So that was the plan.
That may still happen. We still
It,
have time.
yeah, we do still have time. Um, it's not just Edge that was planned for the PLE though in February. Again, as of November, the tentative plan was for Edge's wife Beth to be
Yes.
involved in the Montreal event, teaming with Edge to take on Rhea Ripley and Finn Balor.
Nice.
So
I won't be surprised if Beth shows up in the Rumble and goes after Rhea
mm-hmm.
to start that.
Yep.
So I have a theory about the Judgment Day, but we'll talk about that when we do our Raw recap.
Okay. Um, yeah. So now to the news that everybody's waiting on. If you're looking for a time code, we're about at 12 minutes. So I'll put that down there for people that didn't want to watch all of the other stuff. So, shocking bit of news: Stephanie McMahon has resigned from WWE as the co-CEO. She put out a basically just a letter out to everybody. It's very similar to what we saw from Vince when he decided he was retiring before he came back. Um, about 8 months ago, I took a leave of absence, and within a few weeks, unexpectedly, had the opportunity of a lifetime. I had the privilege to return as the co-CEO and chairwoman of the board of WWE. I cannot put into words how proud I am to have led what I consider to be the greatest company in the world, working alongside a remarkable leadership team and one of the strongest executives I have ever known in my co-CEO, Nick Khan. Our founder, Vince McMahon, has returned as executive chair and is leading an exciting process regarding strategic alternatives. And with Nick's leadership and Paul Triple H Levesque as the chief content officer, I am confident WWE is in the perfect place to continue to provide unparalleled creative content and drive maximum value for shareholders. The rest of it just kind of leads into how much she loves the company, and of course ends it with the tagline, "Then now forever together." Um, ooh, um,
Vince coming back, I wonder if she just went, I don't want to be any part of this shit show, so we're going to go back to my
mhm.
stepping away and just make it an official resignation because I'm good.
I mean, that is one way to look at it. I mean, it's obvious time's going to tell what ends up happening out of this.
Right.
Um, you and I were texting about this earlier, and like my initial like hope for the best is that she came in because she had to fill in the shoes of the CEO.
Right.
Um, so if now Nick Khan can take over or keep doing what he's been doing rather, and with Vince now being the executive chairholder, maybe he's going to take over the financial stuff that she had taken on.
Right.
And
Vince
so,
was named executive chairman today.
oh, okay. Um, I mean, obviously, we hope that he holds to his word because he still has said that he's not thinking about coming back to creative. He doesn't want to come back to creative. Hopefully, that's it. Hopefully, him and Nick are going to work on getting the company in the best financial status
Right.
as they can. Whether that means selling off the company, going back private, or staying the course of what they're doing. Um, Hopefully, any of that just means that he's gonna help the company and not
Right.
look to step back into that role. With the statement of Stephanie saying that Triple H is the chief content officer, that does give me hope, because that to me sounds like his entire role is I'm overall creative and that's what I do.
Right.
And if we keep it that way, I think we're in a good place then.
I agree.
If Vince wants to keep doing the money stuff and get the company as profitable as possible, more power to him. I understand it. It's his legacy. It's what he has worked his entire life for. I was listening to Eric Bischoff's podcast earlier today, and he was mentioning, he was like, think about this. Like, have you ever seen a picture of Vince on vacation, on a boat somewhere, playing golf somewhere? Like, no, this is a no days off guy. Like, he has lived and breathed WWE since,
Yeah, 100%.
since we can all remember. I'm pretty sure he was there with the dinosaurs, making them do Royal Rumbles.
Probably.
With Pat and with Pat in the corner going, it's going banana. Love that, man. I watched the little side note. I watched the clip earlier today of him in Legends House when
Yeah,
he came
I've
out,
seen him.
and
I've seen him floating around.
cry every single time.
Yeah.
Just the anguish that you see let off of his shoulders at that moment.
Yeah.
So to take that sad news and move it into something kind of fun that's still part of it, In the Zone was doing an interview with AEW president Tony Khan. And they asked him, has he been following the news of what's going on with Vince? His statement was small and simply, yeah, absolutely. I'm following it very closely.
He's following up the same reason everybody else is. What's going to happen at the shit show next?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but it does bring up the thought of, I think Tony could come up with 7 bill.
Could he?
Not him alone, but I think if he put a if I remember right, his net worth right now was 2.5 or 3. If he put up a bill and worked with Turner and got some other buyers in, got his dad involved, I mean,
Tony Khan's net worth is $7 billion.
Oh shit. Okay, well, higher than I thought. So yeah, he puts half that in.
Oh yeah, he
And
could
gets
get
us-
invested easily.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantasy booking at that point. I mean,
Right.
But,
The flip side is if they sell, whoever gets it, just leave it alone.
well, and that's the thing. So in Eric Bischoff's podcast, he was talking about when AOL took over Turner for
Right.
that deal. And he said, the thing that happened that I don't think a lot of people understand, and now that I've been through it, I understand better, is nothing will happen for the first year and a half to 2 years. Because
Right.
they're not buying a product to kill it. So they're going to get
No.
in there and they're going to learn and they're going to figure it out. And then slowly you'll start seeing changes to what they think might do it better. But you're not immediately going to see a massive change in day-to-day operations, because they're not wanting to shock the audience. They're wanting to keep it
Right.
going as profitable as it is. And the only way you're going to do that is by not touching it for a while.
Right.
So yeah,
He's
I mean,
not wrong.
yeah, whoever ends up taking it, like that's we can speculate that all day long of what's going to happen depending on who takes it. Disney takes
Right.
it, puts it all on their streaming network. Comcast takes it, does the same thing. We don't know, but I thought an interesting note that Tony specifically, like, troll as he is, because
He does.
as much as
100%.
that man gets on my nerves from time to time, he will troll at every chance he gets.
When you have that kind of money, you can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, specifically the tweet that he put out when Vince announced he was coming back. He put out a tweet that said, "It's interesting why everybody's being so nice to me lately." Just little dig. So,
Right. Well, and I'm sure that, did you see Andrade's tweet
of him
today?
saying bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm guessing he's officially done there.
I don't know. He got something kind of cryptic like that. I think it was a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Right.
So you know,
I just Andrade going back to me isn't a bad thing because he was pretty popular.
yeah, absolutely. And with the role that Charlotte's doing right now and how much they are, bleeding that line between real and kayfabe now,
Right.
putting him with her in some capacity, not like officially a team or anything like that,
Yeah.
like that immediately puts him in the spotlight. That immediately keeps endearing her to fans at that point, because people are going to love Andrade. So,
Well, and the problem is you have male superstar like Karrion Cross,
mhm,
Riddick Moss could get in there with Andrade,
right,
but but Emma and Scarlett aren't on the same level. Putting Andrade with Charlotte would work.
hmm
Um, the problem is the other couples that you have right now, very few of them can get in there and go with Charlotte. Bianca can if you were to put her and Montez together.
yeah.
Um, Andrade and Charlotte against Johnny and Candice would be pretty solid.
I'll one up you, Seth and Becky.
See, that'd be great. But so it makes sense to bring Andrade back.
Yeah,
Just don't do something stupid with him.
yeah.
Like, use him right. The
Well,
dude is one of the best wrestlers in the world.
I if I remember right, I think I threw this out to you in one of our other episodes of bringing him back to kind of revitalize El Phantasmo and
Yeah,
that whole group.
that would work.
Like have him go in there and almost do like almost kind of like what they're doing with the dude down in NXT with the University, where
HQ.
yeah, so slowly he kind of takes it over,
Yeah.
not trying to, just people start following him, and it slowly ends up happening. Or
Yeah.
kind
That
of very
would
similar to The Rock did with Nation, of just
right. You could
eventually.
also I don't know. There's definitely lots of options.
Right.
He shows up and sees Zelina. They talk for a minute and he walks off. They're gonna start questioning.
Well, especially like if he walks off once they walk up, like they're talking in the background,
Yeah,
they walk up, he walks away. What was all that
because
about? Nothing. We're just catching up.
him and Santos would be a great match.
Mm-hmm. And turning Santos, I think good is kind of the next good progression for him too,
Right,
because he's so damn good. But
right. Yeah, I don't think it would be a bad thing to bring him back and do that. Um, him and Austin Theory, I think, would have some good matches.
absolutely, and
You know, there's a
that'd be a good test for him too. Theory, to kind of see
Ricochet.
where he is on it. Yeah, him and Ricochet would be amazing.
That's what I'm saying. There's plenty to do with him. Just make it good.
Oh, actually, there we go. We can end this news on a very high up point.
Okay.
Samantha Irvin and Ricochet announced their engagement today. So,
Congratulations to them. That's
congratulations to
awesome.
those two. That's amazing.
That's awesome. Good for
They
them.
they post on Twitter him doing the whole one knee thing and the whole deal, and then she replied back saying, "Of course, she said yes." So,
Very
congratulations to those
nice.
two. I mean, y'all kissed on national TV. It's the only progression now is to get married. So,
Okay, so I just happened to look on Twitter. Sean Ross Sapp 30 minutes ago said one of the hot rumors is that Saudi buyers are interested in the WWE.
yeah,
Oh my.
yeah. I think that was thrown around the room mill a couple of days ago. Um, I mean, they've got the money to do it. I can't deny that.
Right.
They're paying millions of dollars to get these old parts out of the chair and back in the ring so they can get a concussion. So,
or try to kill the Undertaker. I just
or dig up Yokozuna, because we want Yokozuna. He's dead. Can we get someone who looks like Yokozuna? Yeah, we can get a sumo, sure. And that's what they did, in case anybody didn't know.
yeah, that's
Greatest Royal Rumble, some random sumo guy just shows up because they couldn't get Yokozuna.
interesting.
I'm surprised at the time that they didn't just put Big Show in a little diaper and send him out there. They've done it before.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
it is. I'm not. Whew, I'm not a huge fan of the idea, but okay.
I mean, the only problem I would have with that is I see that situation not being what we just talked about, which is they buy
Oh
it and leave
no,
it alone.
no, they'd 100% come in and fuck it up.
Yeah. So,
Women's wrestling, I can't even imagine what would happen to the women on the roster.
oh, that in itself should be the reason they don't do it. Just because there's no way that they're going
They do know
to.
that they can't kill him over here, right?
I mean, you can do a lot with all that money. Um,
I'm not even going to apologize for that one.
but you know,
It'll be
um,
interesting to see what happens. This year's going to be really interesting.
it is, and it's so weird that we thought that last year was like the biggest news year we could ever see when it comes to professional wrestling, and like the year just started, and
Yeah.
we're already rivaling that big of news. So very, very interesting. Um, we'll see how it goes, but um, I can't imagine how this is going to play out because it can play out so many different ways. Um,
Right.
so I mean, here's just to hoping that we still have our wrestling program at the end of the day. If not, we're gonna follow a lot more Impact and
Right. I'll
a
have a lot
lot.
more time for Japan and some of the smaller
Yeah.
companies.
Um, oh, there's a guy in our Facebook group that works for a little wrestling company out in OKC. I may drive out there every once in a while and start watching that.
I saw the post for that. We're going to have to go check that out.
Yeah. Maybe do a live podcast from there.
Be interesting.
Yeah. Do some interviews with some local talent.
Yeah.
Definitely wouldn't mind that at all. But anyway, little short episode today, guys. Like I said, just as we
A little
kind of
short
felt,
for us.
yeah, we kind of felt just that big of news. We had to say something about it. So thanks for joining us. As always, if you like us, spread the message of this channel, of our show today. Definitely hit us up on our Twitters and our socials down there at the bottom. If you want to get the rest of our catalog, it's right here on YouTube at Kicking At It Too. Until next time, I am Michael. This is Tori, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.